So hello everyone, welcome to Friday morning, fourth Friday of the month. And we have got lovely Helen Porter here, who is going to tell us about our body talking to us. So our body is talking, are you listening? And so I'll turn over to you, Helen.
Well, good morning, everyone, and thank you for giving up the opportunity to be out in the sun this morning. I know it's a real challenge. After the last few weeks, I think we've had Mercury retrograde, and we've got the full moon tomorrow. So we've got the effects of retrograde kind of just trickling over into tomorrow. I think we're all ready for just like this breath of life and fresh air. So really, we have just today to let go of the last aspects of
hang on, I'm really sorry. I just muted you, Helen. I was trying to mute the noise. I was trying to mute noises and I just actually muted you as well. I'm really sorry. And now I can't unmute you. I think you need to unmute yourself.
There we go.
So sorry.
It was that interesting. So anyway,
It's
I'm
very
sure
interesting.
We're all feeling it. It's very, very heavy this last few days. And despite the retrograde and the full moon, I think if you really listen to your body and you kind of watch how it's responding, we know that there's been some significant shifts within ourselves over the last week. Definitely the last week, the last few days have been very profound. So it's really, really interesting to see how the body reacts to these things and how it changes. Now, when you all came on, we asked you how you're feeling today. I want you to just close your eyes for a second. And I want you to take a nice deep breath in through your nose. Exhaling through your mouth. Deep breath in. Exhaling, just dropping out of your mind and into your body. One last deep breath in. Exhaling. And I just want you to ask yourself a question. How am I today? How am I really? And maybe just come up with one word or two words just to describe how you're really feeling. And when you have that word, just open your eyes and just type it in the comments box. Lovely. Brilliant. Okay, just excuse me, we have a family of 7 living in this house, so a little bit of noise out in the background. Okay, so 1 second. Perfect timing. Okay, right, these are great things. Yep, I'm feeling happy, frazzled, vulnerable, hormonal. Great. We're starting to get to how we really feel. So now I just want you to close your eyes again. Take a nice deep breath. Reconnect with that feeling. And how does that actually feel in your body? How does being frazzled or hormonal or vulnerable, how does it actually feel physically? Does your body feel relaxed or does it feel tense? Do you feel tingly anywhere? Are you expanded or contracted? Are you hot or cold? Can you feel your heart beating in your chest? So close your eyes and really tap into your body. Can you feel the pulse of your heartbeat within the palms of your hands? And can you feel that pulse maybe in the soles of your feet? How does that feeling manifest within your body? Wonderful. Okay, I want you to begin at your feet. We're going to scan all the way up the body. We're going to scan for any areas of tension, any areas of pain. As you're beginning at your feet, you're going to work up through your ankles and your calves. Up past your knees and your thighs. Just acknowledging and witnessing up through your hips, your pelvic area. Up through your belly and your spine. Checking in with your heart. Does it feel steady? Or does it feel slightly anxious? Is it beating fast or slow? Just acknowledge and witness. Coming up into the shoulders and down your arms into your hands. Back up into your neck and your throat, into your jaw. Are you clenching your jaw or is it relaxed? Up into your forehead. And just as you acknowledge your body and you witness it, just smile inwardly. And let it know that you're now paying attention. Okay, when you're ready, you can open your eyes. And I just want you to pop in the comments box if you feel any pain anywhere in your body, or what your underlying emotion is. It's very relaxing. So did you feel any pain, any tension anywhere within your body? If so, where? Left side, right side? Did you all manage to feel the beating within your heart and within your hands? Side pain, shoulder, okay. Pelvic area, great. Wonderful. Everyone done? Okay, so now I just want you to stand up. Everyone get up. Just going to spin this round. Everyone ready? Okay, I want you to just do a little stretch for me. And when we stretch, I want you to stretch all of your body, opening it out to the rib cage. Stretch forward, opening and expanding. Oh, it all feels good. We should do this every morning. In bed, actually, it's nice to do it in bed. So a good stretch. Just close your eyes and just see how that feels in your body. Okay, and now we're going to shake our body. So as vigorously as possible, shake your arms and your hands and your legs and your head. Obviously, if you don't have any physical pain, if you have, be careful, but really give it a good shake. I'm going to do this for a minimum of 10 seconds. I mean, shaking's really good, and you can do that for a minute if you like, if you can handle that. But now we're just going to do 10 seconds, really, really hard shake, and then stop. How does your body feel right now? Can you feel the cells come alive? Okay, and the last thing we're going to do is we're going to take a deep breath and we're going to sigh. So when you take a nice deep breath in and just sigh. We're going to do that again. In. One last time. Okay, that's it. So we're basically resetting our body. Everyone feeling good? Yep. Okay, so the way our body works is every single day we're experiencing triggers which peak our adrenaline. So, and they put us into a fight and flight situation. So it might be anything from somebody goes past you in the car and beeps at you for, no reason. It kind of puts you on alert and puts you into that, do I fight? Do I run? What do I do? And because it's so common and we have so many of these things every day, we just ignore them. So we just kind of, no, I'm fine, I'm good. And we just keep going. So we become disconnected to these little warnings in our body, and it's the inner army. So an army is ready to go. They're so well drilled that the second the order goes out, they're all on guard, they're ready to fight. And this is the way our body responds as well. So we're so well programmed that the second we get a little flicker of warning, our body's on guard and ready to go. Now, if we don't go through the cycle of releasing that, we then begin to store that adrenaline within our bodies. And depending on the emotional trigger that created that, it's like we're suppressing. Each time we're doing this, we're suppressing. So becoming more familiar with our body and just stopping and asking ourselves, how am I? We begin to become familiar with the way that we respond. So for example, if we've been triggered and somebody just beeped at us, obviously you have to stop and pull over. You can't just close your eyes as you're driving, but it's a really good practice to stop and say, okay, what was it that got triggered within me? It was a shock, but it was maybe I felt violated, or we want to find the core emotion of what was triggered. Say, for example, we're in a queue for a coffee shop and somebody pushes in front of us. It's what's the core emotion that's been triggered there? Well, did they not see me? Am I not significant? So it may be significance that's being triggered, or it might be injustice because you queued, perfectly as you should have done. So it's always important to find the key or the core emotion that's being triggered. So each time you feel that little flutter and your fight and flight goes in, just stop, close your eyes, and I want you to pay attention to what core emotion, because if we don't pay attention to that core emotion is going to get logged in our body, and it's going to keep a memory of the next time it happens. It will say, oh no, this is not good, but I know what to do. So for example, if we have this flare up of adrenaline, the best thing to do is to stop and shake. That's one way of completing the trauma cycle. So if we just go along, driving along, and then just put the music on to distract us, talk, put the TV on, try and think of different things, we're not actually acknowledging the cycle within our body. So when we start to ignore these cycles in our body, they start to push themselves within. And now I'm looking at some of the things that we found on here. So what have we got? We've got slight pain in the neck on the left side, and a shoulder and the right scar. in the sacral iliac. Okay, so slight pain on the left side. When we look at the body, we have the left side of the body is the feminine and the right side is the masculine. So the neck generally, if it's across the shoulder, it says neck shoulder. This is where we hold responsibility, the weight of responsibility. It's almost like a burden. So the feminine aspect, I don't know who wrote this one. Oh, you did. So it's almost like the weight of responsibility is all on your shoulders. So this is something you need to pay attention to. So each time you have maybe a trigger where you feel I have to look after everybody yet again, it's like you need to tap into your body and say, okay, at this point, what do you need from me? So when we close our eyes and we connect and we say, okay, I'm feeling vulnerable today. What do you need? So you close your eyes and you ask your body again, I'm feeling vulnerable. Okay. So what do you need from me? Do you need me to rest? Do you need me to move? Do you need me to get some support from someone? We have all the answers ourselves. It's just we often forget to ask. So I would suggest you ask yourself, Naomi, at some point, what you need to feel more supported from others, or to what burdens are you taking on that you actually don't need to be taking for others? Are they yours, or have you just taken them from other people without needing to? Okay, so tension in the pelvic area. Who's this sitting? Okay, so the pelvic area is really fascinating because actually we all think that the lower back is the foundation where all of the problems arise, but actually if your pelvic's out of alignment, this is the foundation of our whole body. Have you ever had any surgical kind of things within the pelvis? Any operations down here?
Well, to just a little snapshot of why I'm feeling that in the last couple of days I've been bleeding. I'm 59.
Uh-huh.
So I'm on HRT. I'm postmenopausal. So we're all ladies here, so it's fine. So I got a Marina coil for the hormone, and I also use estrogen on my legs every night. So I started bleeding Wednesday, and I checked whether I had the coil in, which is difficult for me to do. There's two threads, so I found one. I rang the doctor, and the doctor's going to speak to the gynecologist. But on the first day I had the bleed, which was Wednesday, I felt as if I was having a period. That heaviness, which I hadn't felt for such a long time, because I don't get periods. And yesterday I was feeling so out of sorts. My hormones were all over the place. But prior to that, I was getting hot flushes anyway, and I was asking the doctor, I'm taking all this stuff, I'm still getting hot flushes. What's happening? And so I'm waiting to see. And I know all my tension happens in my pelvic area, because when I was a little girl and I got shouted at by my parents, or I got nervous, I used to clench myself in like this all the time. And I don't like arguments. I don't like confrontation. I like to be happy, and I get very nervous. So, yeah, I recognize.
Okay. Well, this is, I mean, you've already got a connection with your body, and now that you know that there's a slight imbalance there, now it's time to really start nurturing it. And actually the bleed is a really amazing opportunity to release some of this. So I don't know, most women absolutely dread their monthly cycles. How many of us dread? No, you all got used to it. I should know, being in this community. But actually the bleed is a very beautiful experience, and it's very powerful. We can give back to the earth if you collect the blood, and we can go through rituals. But I would suggest, your sense of creation, your sense of power within the womb was obviously felt threatened at some point. So it would be really lovely, and you can maybe even with Grace do some tapping, just to reprogram that you're now safe. but also just acknowledge, just say, okay, I acknowledge that there's a discomfort here, that I'm changing. And sometimes just acknowledging is enough for your body to go, oh, okay, she's listening to me now. So there's some things that I can suggest for you. Definitely with a harmony with the womb massage, it would be phenomenal for you. There's trauma held within the cells. However, yeah, I think if you just start to pay attention to your body and ask it what it needs on the days that you're bleeding as well, when you're feeling the tension, make a conscious effort to release and release. And there's some lovely
Thank
herbs
you.
that you can do.
I've just something just thank you so much. Something just occurred to me which I haven't mentioned to you. I have 5 children.
Okay.
And they're all grown up now, and away. So I'm missing them a lot. So I think that's also
So
part of.
she's feeling the need for creation, but maybe this
And I
fear
don't
that
have children
you
anymore. So there you go. Yeah, my time has passed on that. So yeah, so maybe there is a kind of a also because we can't see anybody, kind of a grieving feeling. I think I'm picking up on something. I have a feeling about that. But also, if I may just ask you, Helen, when you go, close your eyes and all of that sort of thing, and listen to yourself, sometimes it can be so powerful because you're so layered, as you say, and everybody else says, layered with everything that's going on, COVID, what you have to make for dinner, how you're feeling, if you're going to ring this person, set this something up for treatments and stuff. You're so layered. Once you come to the point of actually feeling for yourself, somebody put their vulnerability, you just want to cry because it's almost like you're scared, you're showing yourself. So I have that sense too.
and that is just so beautiful. I mean, to be in a state of tears when you're connecting with yourself, it's your body just going, thank God you're finally listening to me. So it's so common. I don't know how many of you have done it. I know we're all very aware of ourselves at the moment, but even during the lockdown, and even with as much as I know, I found myself getting slightly twitchy. Like I check my phone or I put the TV on. I'm thinking, what can I do? Because I just feel really uncomfortable. And I catch myself doing that. And if I just sit and close my eyes and pay attention, it's almost like suffering only happens when you're living in fear of the future or the past. When you're in the present, you can't possibly be in a state of suffering because you're fully present. So it's almost like I don't want to connect to that emotion because I can't handle it right now. Well, actually, that is so much worse than just sitting with it. And I can guarantee if you sit with it, once you get over the initial kind of fear of what you're going to find, it's actually really, really beautiful. And you feel all the anxiety, all the stress and all the tension just diffusing. And that's all your body wants. It's just like, please just stop and listen to me. So it's a really good practice to do it every single morning. And before you go to bed, just check in and say, how am I? But how am I really? Because I know whenever we say, how are you this morning? You're like, I'm great, the sun's shining, I'm really happy. But underneath, what's going on? So this is just something really simple that you can do with yourself and other people. And if you have people that really struggle to connect with their feelings, and so many people do, they do not even know how to decipher what a feeling is. When you get them to connect to the heartbeat, it brings them into their feeling body and out of their analytical mind. So working with the breath, the sensations, are you hot? Are you cold? Are you tingly? What does it feel like? Because most people say, I'm anxious. Okay, well, what is that? What's anxious? Is it nice? No? Okay. So it's just a way of starting to connect with people and really finding a way for them to understand how to really read themselves. So we have our own stresses in our body and we have our own stuff, but we also have the epigenetic kind of effects from what we've carried over from our family. So a little story just about myself, it will help you understand. 6 years ago, I had spinal surgery. Since the early 20s, I'm now 42, since my early 20s, I had a slip disc in my neck and in my lower back, and it would just go neck, back, and it would just completely alternate for nearly 17 years before the lower back finally collapsed and crushed the spinal cord. So this is what really kind of prompted me and pushed me forward with the harmony massage. I wanted to know how to fix myself. I've spent thousands and thousands of pounds seeing every therapist all over the world. You know, I've traveled the world, I've trained in every modality you can think of, and nobody could fix my back. And I'm like, I don't take that as an answer. You know, the surgeon said you're never going to work again, you shouldn't be walking, and I just don't believe in that. So I started to look into the underlying causes. You know, first of all, what is it at the lower spine? That's the spine holds the you have to forgive me at the moment, my brain's a bit frazzled with the retrograde. So the conflict in family values. So we hold that within our spine. Now, I have a lot of conflict within family values because I don't particularly agree with the roles of my mother and father. So I've always been the one that rebels. So that's held in the bottom of my spine, but also it's this feeling of being unsupported. So the spine is the structure of the whole body. So if the lower spine is feeling unsupported, you're going to be in real trouble. So I started working with MAT with a lady called Yvette Rose, who is phenomenal. She's all about epigenetics and healing the body. I'll show you the book in a second. And we started to release the trauma that's connected to my spine and the links to my father, because my dad has the lower 6 vertebrae have all been completely disintegrated and fused together. So there's starting to become similarities here. So we're working through the back, and I thought, yeah, I've cracked it. All the back pain's gone. And then boom, it comes back. And it's so soul destroying when you think you've got somewhere. And then what I realized was actually, what is the pain telling me? So each time the pain in my back flared up, it was because there was something in my life that was out of alignment. So when my back went 6 years ago, it's because I had a salon. I had 13 staff, I was stressed, and I was working, and I was taking painkillers to numb the pain. But my back was like, no, there's something wrong, you've got to change. And I just wouldn't listen. So eventually it kind of made the choice for me. So now each time my back goes, I think, oh, what just happened? You know, what was the run up a couple of days before this that has caused this to it almost stops me in my tracks. So now I started paying attention to my back. It's actually not, it's been pretty good. It's now moved to my hip. So I have no problems in my spine anymore. Touch wood. It's moved to my left hip. So what happened in my life before the back, because I always thought the back was the first thing, but actually, when you look at the hips store trauma from sexual abuse or from operations within the pelvic area. So when I was 19, I had the veins stripped out of my legs in a very traumatic surgery. So now it's almost like you're working backwards. So we've now connected to the hip and the trauma, and actually the tapping again could really help, Grace. So it's almost like healing the damage and the trauma that was connected to the surgery. And I never even thought about the surgery being traumatic, but if you think it's in the sexual area, it's right up in the groin. It was done by a surgeon. And actually the surgeon at the time, was he in a good mood or a bad mood? Who knows? But the knife that used is metal, and it conducts emotion. So metal's a conductor. So you also have to think, you know, you're not just working on your own traumas, you're picking up the energy of all the people around you. So now I'm going to be looking into releasing the trauma, not just in my mental state, but in the physical cells of my body. And I'm very lucky to be working with a physio called Max, who's now created moves for the harmony massage, connected specifically to working deep within the pelvic bowl. So as he's been working on my hip, you'd never believe it, he's working on my hip. The next morning I wake up, I've got bruising the entire way down my leg, like big black bruises all the way down, and that's on the liver channel. So it's just really fascinating as you start to pay attention and you start to look at the traumas through your body. As you start to release on an emotional, it's also a physical level. So a lot of the time we don't know that our body's still holding these traumas because we think that we've dealt with them emotionally. But when you start pressing the physical body, it releases the trauma that's stored within the cell and the DNA. So I think I went off on a tangent there. I have been doing my dad's feet, reflexology, for probably the last 2 months, and I've noticed the exact same patterns within his feet are in my feet too. So the shoulder, he's got a hard callus on his shoulder. He's got the calluses around the bottom of the sole, the heel, sorry. We replicate each other identically. Our feet are mapped as if they are exactly the same. So it's like, how much of this have I taken on myself and how much have I absorbed from my dad and his beliefs? So it's really a case of working on ourselves, but working on our connection with our parents too. So this is a beautiful thing, and we could talk for days and days about all of the different avenues you can look down. But it's really starting to become conscious with yourself, and your body is a map. So with the harmony massage, this is how we relate this. We work through the body, and the entire body is a map. So we have all the way down the spine, we have sections across, and if we find a little knot in your back, it might be in the section that's related to the spleen, and the spleen would be concern. And if it's on the left side, it would be concern within the feminine. If it's a bit lower and it's on the right side and it's in the section of anger, it would be okay. So what is it that you're holding in your body that might be connected to the masculine in relation to anger? So we can start to question and help you and find out and map through your body, you know, where are the problems? Where does your body hold the physical tension, and how does it relate to the emotional problems? So that's kind of like a ballpark of how the harmony works. If you don't know what's wrong with you, or you're struggling, you come in, you lay down in, and we basically go the way through your body. We find out, we map it, and we say, okay, the tension in your liver would suggest that you're holding on to some repressed anger. Or, okay, as I was working over your kidneys, there was some fear, you know, so it helps us to identify within you. And once we've gone from there, you can then go on and do some subconscious reprogramming if you desire. Sometimes physical is enough. So anyway, that is all about kind of what we do, my passions. If you take anything away today, just remember to check in every single day in the morning. How am I? How am I really? Breathe. How do I feel? And if at the end of the day or during the day you've come up against something that has traumatized you in any way or stimulated the fight and flight, I want you to shake and stretch and sigh to release it. You don't want to hold on to that anymore. Okay?
Brilliant. Thank you, Helen. So do we have any questions for Helen about any of that?
Yeah, I've got one. When you were talking now, it's very, very fascinating, I have to say. Thank you very much for your talk and for the experience of, you know, feeling ourselves. When you talk about, so after, basically what you do, when somebody comes to you and then you kind of do all this scanning through their bodies, through the massage, finding what maybe they are holding, any fears or any anger, or, and then you were saying about conscious reprogramming. So is this maybe that does the person find their own way, or do you give them like tips to tell them, well, you know, if you kind of say this or do this, or how does that work?
So at the end of the massage, we have guided meditations. So they can you can either pay to have that done within the treatment. So you'd have a 90-minute massage, and then you'd go home and we'd give you a link to a guided meditation. Or if you want to extend it, you would have the guided meditation at the end of the treatment. And I tend to do some Reiki as that's happening. So to help the energy clear. So it comes down to budget and people's time allocations if they want to have that done within the session. I always feel it's needed to complete the whole cycle. So we've released from the body, and sometimes boom, it just goes, and other times I know there's some resistance, and so it'll be like, go home and do the homework, or stay and we kind of do the session together. So there's 12 specific questions that I'll ask. So if you stay and have the 30-minute extended session, I'll ask 12 questions. So if I found anger within the feminine, anger's actually not a key emotion, it's a response. So I have to find out where the anger came from. So what made you angry? Once we've got that core thing, and it's normally it could be a multitude of things, I then do the 12 questions on how's it serving you? Why are you keeping it? Because it's always serving us. And once we figured that one out, we do the guided meditation and it just releases.
Oh, that's really, really nice. Thank you. Thanks for answering that. Lovely.
So Angeline asked about the book, Helen. So that's Metaphysical Anatomy by Yvette Rose.
It's my Bible. If you haven't got it, every single person should have this in their home. Okay, Metaphysical Anatomy by Yvette Rose.
Oh, I spelled her name wrong. Sorry, Angeline.
It's a very thick book. I trained with Yvette on the MAT technique, and again, it's kind of like releasing the subconscious patterns or kind of reprogramming them. Every ailment has got an emotion attached to it and questions. So for example, if you have this, that was a bit heavy, let's find if you've got anemia, it will say okay, it will give you a whole page of questions to say when did it start, it's feeling kicked out and isolated, or your anger is often explosive. So it will give you patterns, and it will give you tips on how to question yourself to see where it came from, why you've got it, and why you're holding on to it. It's really fascinating. So I always go to this book every time something flares up.
Yeah, and it's got pretty much everything in it, hasn't it, as well? Every ailment you could think of, it's in there, and talk about the patterns that you might want to explore around that.
Yeah, and there's been days, so I'm just careful which ones I put on here because I know other people are going to watch this. So for example, when my back went, I was laying back in bed and I couldn't move, and I'm thinking, what was that? I linked it back to an event that happened, and I did a meditation and I cleared it, and I rolled out of bed, got up and walked off and did the day, completely gone. Now, it doesn't happen every time because I can't always figure out what it was that caused it. But when you can figure it out, it can literally transform you instantly.
So that's really amazing.
It's amazing. And I'll actually tell the other one because I'm sure we're all professionals on here. I was walking down the seafront and my ex-boyfriend drove past on his bike, and he looked at me as if he wanted to just kill me. And the shock that went into my body and the fear for my safety, I thought, it just went through me, and I got piles that night. And it was, they just come up instantly. And I thought, oh no. So I looked on here. What is it? What would cause it? Shock and feeling threatened. So I did the guided meditation, woke up in the morning, gone, not a trace. And they normally last for quite a few days, I think, don't they? So sometimes when you can get it quick enough, you can cure yourself just like that.
Fascinating. So Siti wants to ask, Siti Salama.
Hi, that was absolutely fascinating, Helen. Thank you so much. And I can't believe it. Yeah, we hold so much in our body that I'm thinking of fibromyalgia. What a massive, you know, how that must be feeling with all that trauma inside you, and it can be kicked off by a divorce or a loss or any kind of thing major, and it manifests in your body, and you get fibromyalgia or some such illness.
Yeah, I think that's years and years of taking on too much and
Yeah,
being completely depleted.
psychologically as well. Yeah, yeah, a lot to work through.
Definitely.
Amazing. So is that book on Amazon or?
Yeah.
Okay.
I recommend everyone buys that book today. I don't get any
Yes,
commission for it.
definitely.
And if you don't want to patronise Amazon, I personally avoid them. It is on ABE Books. I don't know who owns ABE Books, but they can't be as bad as Amazon, surely. Yeah. So before we go into,
Yes, in other places.
Could I just say something quickly?
yes, sorry, Grace, I was just going to ask for more questions. Please go ahead.
Yeah, this is particularly for CT. I would recommend that you look again at your body and the relationship to the hormones you're putting into it, because you might find that your body is giving you a message
That I don't need it. Trying to say.
The artificial hormones is up to you. You go inwards and you ask yourself what is, what your body is telling you.
Yeah, thank you, Grace. I did that before taking HRT. I tried everything, and it wouldn't work. So
You tried homeopathy and diet.
I tried diet, all sorts of things. I didn't try homeopathy. Sorry about that.
No, you don't need to be sorry.
Yeah, but it was so bad because I wasn't taking anything. It was during my hormonal period, when I was actually in the throes of menopause, with the hot sweats, the moods, the forgetfulness, the concentration. I was doing a degree at the time, and it was I just needed to focus, and I just needed something. I didn't want to snap at anyone anymore. That sort of thing. So I just had to go down that way. So, but maybe you could be right that but there's other things going on which I needs help. But we'll see. We'll see what the gynecologist.
Only a suggestion. It's only a suggestion.
Thank you very much.
I have worked with people who were on HRT for 15 years and then came off the HRT and went straight back into hormonal symptoms, hot flushes and everything. So, they had to explore a different way of doing things. But anyway, this, is not.
Thank you. That's food for thought for me.
I'm only just saying, listen to your body.
Yes, you're right. Like Helen.
And if you think, that the womb is the feminine, it's the divine feminine, and if it was flaring up when you were doing your degree, that's very masculine. It's very left brain, and it's maybe your body saying, no, this is not right. I want to be doing something way more soft, way more feminine. It's our body is an incredible thing. So I agree with Grace.
You're absolutely right about that. We don't have time to go into that right now, but
we can split up in some.
Yes, that is fascinating. Thank you so much for saying that. And yeah, I can actually I recognize that completely now.
Yeah, hormones are suppressive. We take the pill to suppress our periods. We take HRT to suppress hot flushes or whatever it is that the body wants to do. And suppression, for me, suppression does not work long term. It's like suppressing other parts of us.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Very much food for thought, isn't it? And about, taking time to be with ourselves and ask those questions.
Yeah, I think if anything came up when you did when you closed your eyes and you switched off, just go back in, you know, sit out in the garden in the sun, put your feet in the earth and just say, what do I need? We have all the answers, I guarantee. It's just, you just need to learn how to hear them. So just sit with yourself every day and say, what do you want, really?
Absolutely, I agree with you totally.
Just picking up on the masculine and feminine, I just wondered if you could say a little bit more about each side. Is there like a general sense of particular things from each side? You mentioned about the sense of responsibility on the left with the feminine. I just wondered if you could expand on that a little.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of my favorite subjects. So the feminine, or so let's start with the masculine. The masculine is very logical. It's very focused. It holds space. If you think of like a very strong, stable masculine figure, they're calm, they hold the space, they're analytical, they're a supporter, provider, they go and get for us. The feminine is creative, she's nurturing, she's creating life, she's fluid, she's changeable. It's just everything kind of beautiful and mystical and magical, whereas the masculine is very certain, very strong, very kind of controlled, rigid. So we have the facets within us. We just need to make sure that we don't flip heavily to the wrong side. So there's absolutely, I have respect for women in business, and I've had my own businesses since I was 19, but I was very much in my masculine. And coming out, as soon as I do my feminine workshops, I fully step into who I am, and that's where my power comes. So feminine can be powerful, but it's the masculine role of money, planning, order. It takes us away from our natural flow as a woman. So if you are a business person, you just have to make sure that you give yourself balance. So you treat yourself to beautiful things, you know, the aromatherapies, the flowers, the colors, beautiful things. We just need to have that balance. And if you have a partner, say, for example, you have a very masculine partner, you need to be a very feminine kind of, in order to blend and merge together. But if your partner's very feminine, you can be the masculine and that will blend together. But you need the difference, you need the opposites. So, or you can have, you know, feminine and feminine, two women together, but one of them tends to be masculine. It's that attraction. So yeah, it's just, there's got to be balance. If you're working, make sure that you do the nice things as well.
Okay, thank you. I was just thinking, because it got me thinking about what you were saying about where the pain is. And my pain is on the right. And I have a tendency, and people have commented on sort of my masculine, sort of quite ambitious type of mentality.
Whereabouts in the body?
Pardon?
Where in the body on the right side?
On the shoulder, well, all down the right side. The shoulder it started, and then occasionally I get like a pain down the right leg into the foot. Yeah, it's a bit strange really, because I did have an issue with the leg and I thought that had got dealt with, but it seems to have reoccurred, and now with the shoulder. And I know that I do take on a lot of the masculine role because I brought up my kids on my own, so I had to be mum and dad. The prison sector where I was working, male dominated. It's always been male dominated, so I'm very conscious about that being quite dominant. And I'm just wondering if there's any kind of maybe I need to be playing more to the feminine more, whether that's what the pain's trying to tell me from what you were saying, or whether there's something else I need to kind of be exploring there.
Maybe because it's in the foot and leg all the way up the body, it's moving forward. So your body, you're taking your body in a very strong masculine direction, but it's giving you pain. So it's saying actually that's maybe not really where you need to be. And I'm not saying give up your job or anything. I'm just saying just bring the feminine in alignment with it, because without the feminine, if you look at any man without a woman, he's really it's probably going to say behind every good man is a good woman, and you know, behind every good woman is a good man. There's got to be that balance. We kind of expand and we inspire the masculine, so it needs the feminine there. So yeah, just start dance around the house, like put some cool music on and just get fluid and flowy, you know, bit belly dance. No one's watching, but just small acts of feminine, flowers, essential oils, flower remedies, anything like that will really help.
Fantastic, thank you.
Great. And then we have Grace has her hand up. Oh, can't hear you, Grace.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Can I just share a quick story to illustrate and complement what Helen said? A very long time ago now, and years, I saw a young woman. I used to work in a GP surgery, and she came to the surgery because she had problems, joint problems on the right side of her body, and the GP diagnosed arthritis and put her on steroids. And she was still quite young, and she was really concerned about it. So she came for a homeopathic appointment, and I took the case, took the history, and I realized she had other issues on the right side of her body, like pain during ovulation, and there was something else I can't remember now. So after a while, I said to her, have you got an issue with a male person in your life? And she became alive. Her face just completely changed. And she said, how do you know that? And she carried on telling me how very angry she had been with her brother, who had done all sorts of injustice to her. So I ended up giving her a remedy for anger. And symptoms that had been diagnosed as arthritis all disappeared. And this woman was so impressed. She ended up going to study homeopathy. And the joints all cleared.
Yeah, wow, thank you. Yeah, brilliant story. So we've got just a few minutes if people would like to go into breakout rooms to have a little chat. The meetings used to be till 12. Nowadays we're just doing till 11:30, and time flies when you're having fun. It's actually nearly the end of our lovely meeting. So if people would like to go into groups, maybe, I mean, is everyone happy just to go over by a few minutes? Yeah, just a few minutes. Everybody happy?
And can I say, if anybody has something specific that came up today, if you want me to send you the picture in the book, I'll put my phone number in. I'll just send you the page. So if there was a hip problem or something, I'll take a picture and send it over, so you haven't got to wait. It's like, it's fascinating.
Oh, brilliant, Helen, thank you. Yes, so normally I forgot to do this, but if people would like to put their contact details, website in the chat, you might even want to pop what it is that you do alongside, if your website or whatever isn't obvious what it is you do, just to remind us of. Just realised I've done mine wrong. So if you just want to pop your name and any contact, and obviously you don't have to, but if you want to, please do. And I'll pop us all into breakout rooms. I'll probably just do it randomly, and we'll just see what Zoom does. And I will also do what I normally do is I send the chat to everybody after the meeting. So the email that you signed up with, I can send you a copy of the chat. So just mention if you want Helen to send you the page as well. And the other thing is I'll put a little post in the Therapists Network Facebook group about today, just saying how great it was to have you here and to hear Helen's wisdom. And I'll invite you also to pop your any sessions, any workshops you're running, or your website details on that post as well. So I'm just looking now to how to put us into breakout rooms. I'm going to just assign automatically. How many of us are there? 10. So let's do 3 rooms, and you'll get an invite to join those. And I'll stop the recording.